Hey everybody, happy Friday. It is Jamie here. Wherever you are watching me from, I am currently streaming from my YouTube channel, so make sure to subscribe if you're watching me over there. I am also streaming into my Financial Literacy for Women Business Owners Facebook group. Come join us over there if you're not yet a member. We're having lots of discussions and answering questions about all of these stimulus topics over there all the time. You can go to jamietroll.com/group if you want to join us. And then I'm also live on my business page. So wherever you're watching me from, say hey, tell me you can hear me because I'm always nervous about that. And it is, I just did a double take trying to think about what day it is. And it is January 1st, you guys. Cheers to 2021. I'm not sure that anybody is sad to see 2020 go at this point. I certainly am not. So it is the first day of 2021, but I wanted to show up here for you guys because I know there have been lots and lots of questions always about the stimulus. I see some comments coming in. If you're commenting on Facebook, make sure to give StreamYard permission to see your name. There's something you can actually click above in the Facebook group that allows StreamYard to be able to see your name. So right now I can see Marissa and I can see some Facebook users. So hi guys. Happy New Year. I should have dressed for the occasion, I feel like. But Happy New Year, you guys. Okay. So today we're going to do our normal Friday stimulus update. We are bringing these back now. They had kind of been a little hit or miss intermittently. And now that there's actually some movement, we are going to try to do these more often on Fridays. 1:30 Central Time is the typical time that I will be here to give you an update and answer your questions. So feel free to start asking me some questions. I'll give you a quick update about where we are and where we are potentially going. So a lot of you guys probably already know the stimulus bill has passed. It passed Congress. There was a little bit of question as to whether the president was going to sign it. He did end up signing it, although one of the big issues that he had with the bill is that he did not feel like the stimulus checks were large enough. So right now, these stimulus checks, which some of you, let me know in the comments if you've already gotten your stimulus check. I'm really curious. I've already started to hear a lot of people already getting them into their bank account. So let me know if you have already received that $600 stimulus check. And yeah, oh, see, look, so Heart and Soul says they got theirs last night, right after midnight. Great. Awesome. So yeah, let me know. So right now, there is still some debate on whether or not it could get increased to the $2,000. And I would guess that if that does end up happening, it would be made as a separate check. However, there is some holdup generally in the Senate right now. The bill for the $2,000 did pass the House. It's not being voted on in the Senate. Ultimately, it's really Mitch McConnell who's making the decisions on whether to vote on it or not. And that is generally not something that he is super in favor of. And so the debate continues. So where it ends up, we will have to wait and see. But hopefully in the meantime, you guys are getting some money hitting your account so that you get a little bit of relief right now, because I know there's still so much need for that. But I think as business owners, and most of you guys who follow me are business owners, you're entrepreneurs, you're side hustlers, you're making money yourself independently. The stimulus is still great, but oftentimes some of the other things that are in this bill are even more important for small business owners. So I want to make sure that you guys are aware of all the things in here to help small business owners. So again, I've talked about this some. Second round of PPP is coming. Even if you got the first, you can qualify for a second. Okay, there are some special rules around this. I do have a video specifically on PPP changes on my YouTube channel, so make sure to go find me over there, Jamie Troll, just my name, pretty easy to find. But ultimately, if you can prove a 25% reduction, picking one quarter of 2020 versus one quarter of 2019 in most circumstances, the same quarter, essentially Q3 of 2020, let's say, versus Q2 of 2019, if you can show a 25% reduction in your gross receipts, that's the top line income coming in. That does not include, so if you got, let's say, in that quarter, the PPP loan, it wouldn't include that. It wouldn't include any unemployment that you got. So if in any quarter, just your general business gross receipts was down by at least 25%, which I think for a lot of business owners it was, right? then you would be able to qualify for a second PPP as long as you have under 300 employees. So that is really something that is really, really key. So I'm going to look, I see Veronica says she's confused on second round of PPP. So like I said, that's how you qualify, right? You show that 25% reduction quarter over quarter, which I think a lot of people will be able to qualify. If you didn't get the first round of PPP, it's a little uncertain to me, but the way that I see this rolling out more than likely is that there won't be those same income limits, that you will still be able to get a PPP without having to prove that. But again, most people, especially during a quarter that perhaps they were shut down for part of the quarter, right? A lot of people were shut down in, late Q1, early Q2, then you should potentially be able to get that second PPP loan. Okay, so Facebook user says, I had no income at all except unemployment for the quarter. I want to show the loss. How do I show the zero income? So likely it's going to be requiring you to give bank statements and things like that. I think it's also good to have a profit and loss. You may not need it because they're not really looking at the profit number. Remember, they're looking at the top line. So usually bank statements or something like that to show what you made last year, what you made this year for that quarter. But we are waiting on Treasury guidance. So right now, you likely, if you went to your bank, they probably have no process yet for you to apply for a second round of PPP loans. The portal is not open. Some banks are taking them preemptively, are taking some of those applications, but for the most part, your banks may not be open yet to be able to process those applications because we're waiting on Treasury guidance. Remember last time, this is exactly what happened last time, where we'd have something new, a change would come out, and then there would be a flurry of questions that were basically unanswered within the bill. And so we had to wait for Treasury and the SBA essentially to give us the basically clarifying implementation guidance to tell us exactly what the heck this means and what we're supposed to do. So right now we're sitting kind of in this for a lot of the provisions in this bill, we're sitting in this no man's land. We're sitting in this waiting period. So I know you guys want answers, and so do I, but a lot of these things, we're just going to have to wait for a couple of weeks to get them all to play out. Just so happens that there's also a lot going on from a government perspective and a transition of powers perspective and all of that as well. So I'm curious to see how long it takes to get some of this out. Hopefully it will not be as long as the last time. We had to wait a while for really clear guidance on some things. I'm hopeful that that won't be the case this time, but just make sure that you keep checking back. So make sure you've subscribed, make sure you're in the group, make sure you're paying attention to what's going on, because I want to be able to bring you guys any changes that come up. Okay, so yeah, lots of people receiving stimulus. That's awesome. Let's see. So for you, if you started in January 2020 and you can show a loss, so you still, similar to last time, you have to be in business by at least February. For January 2020 to show a loss for the second round of PPP, yes, you was able to show Q1 2020 versus Q2 2020. You can do a similar thing there where you're going to show them your pre-pandemic and like your most recent, right? If let's say if you were in business for full Q4, which it doesn't sound like you are, but for those who were, you would basically have to use Q4. So you'd use Q4 versus Q4. If you weren't in business in 2019 for a full quarter, then you could use your Q1 2020 and then compare it forward. It gets a little hard, right? Because not a lot of businesses, you might not have made, if you were just starting out in business, you might have not have made a ton of money in the first quarter. So you might not show that decline, but some people will. So if you can show that 25% decline from say Q1 to Q2 or Q1 to Q3 or something like that, then you would be able to apply for a second round. Okay. Let's see. So this is still one of the open questions that I have not seen answered as of yet. And I think that this is a really important one. And Sharon, I give you a gold star for this question around accrual versus cash. To me, it would make sense to follow how you pay taxes, right? So if you pay taxes on a cash basis, meaning you recognize income when you receive it in your bank account, then I would expect that it would follow that. But I have not seen that in the bill. I need to do, it's a 5,000 page bill, but I haven't seen that even in any of the interpretations that I've read either. So I think that might be one of the clarifying things that we have to see is it based on how you pay taxes? Can you choose? Because some of that timing can really impact it, right? If you've got accounts receivable and accounts payable and things like that, timing can really impact it. I'm just going to put this up here because this is really sweet. Thanks, Stacy. I was filming earlier today. I put lipstick on for y'all today. That's how I feel. And I got a date night tonight. But guys, I'm pretty jazzed about it. We are going to see a movie. We've not seen a movie in over a year. We rented the entire theater. So my husband and I, now it was not very expensive. AMC does it for like 99 bucks, you guys, check it out. But we've got an entire theater to ourselves watching my husband's favorite movie, which he might kill me for saying this publicly, but he will claim it. Love Actually. So we get a date night. I'm pretty jazzed. We're starting the new year right. But thank you, Stacy. Okay, back to it. What else we got? Let's see. So hopefully that goes to your question, Veronica. Okay, oops. Oh, and Happy New Year. So Luigi is asking, sweet name, by the way. My son would love it. Luigi is asking, my CPA has not asked for PPP forgiveness on my first round. Am I too late? No, you are not too late. So there's a lot of questions around PPP forgiveness for the first round. In most cases, I'm telling people, heck, it's January 1st at this point. Hold off for a couple of weeks. You have 10 months from the end of your covered period, i.e. the end of generally, it's probably your 24 weeks, to apply for forgiveness for your loan before payments are due. You can apply at any time. You can apply past that 10 months, but you would have already had to start paying on the loan. So in general, I would really work to apply by that 10 months. So for most people that time, for anybody, actually, for no one, that time has not come up for anybody yet. It'll be in the next couple of months if you got it in the early round in April. But I would say to hold out, let these process changes happen. Forgiveness is being simplified for loans of $150,000 and under. You still will have to apply. Nothing is automatic. So I want to make sure nobody thinks that it's automatically going to be forgiven. $150,000 and under, you still will have to apply, but it will be a one-page application, probably with a lot less paperwork. I know some people have said they had to provide hundreds of pages of paperwork. That will not be the case anymore. So you probably want to wait it out unless you love paperwork, unless you're really looking for something to do. So I would, but I would still check in with your CPA and see what they have to say, but they're probably going to tell you the exact same thing. And different banks are rolling it out differently. Some banks have actually paused accepting forgiveness applications right now for this reason. I feel like I'm talking really fast today, but I think it's because I have so much I want to get in. And maybe I'm excited about date night. I don't know. Let's see. It's completely fine if you're down for 2 quarters and up for the entire year. They're only looking on a quarter by quarter basis. There will still probably be some certifications that you need it. So make sure you read the certifications that you're signing when you apply, right? Because you're going to apply and you're going to have to certify to various facts around your need for the loan and things like that. So make sure you're paying attention to that as well. So PPP does work for small businesses without employees. I have to say it. It's one of the things that still gets confusing for people. I know it's the Paycheck Protection Program, but it actually is the best program even for self-employed individuals. Self-employed individuals can get the money to pay themselves. It's still 2.5 times average monthly payroll, right? So if you have a business with employees, you would use your general payroll reports, right? If you're a sole proprietor, LLC, to figure out how much you could pay yourself, you will go to your Schedule C 2019. So grab your 2019 tax return. Hopefully everybody has filed them. Go to find the Schedule C in there. Go to line 31, which is your net profit. Take that number, divide it by 12. That's basically figuring out essentially your income by month, and multiply it by 2.5. So the vast majority of you guys, the second round is going to be calculated exactly the same, right? And you're going to multiply by that 2.5. Restaurants and food service, NAICS code 72. You can find your NAICS code if you don't know what it is on your tax return. You guys can get 3.5 months worth of payroll. So that is a new thing in this new bill that did not exist before. Let's see. You guys are so sweet. I love y'all. Y'all are my people. I gotta be here. What else am I gonna be doing? Okay, can you apply for another EIDL? In general, you cannot apply for another EIDL. It does not appear. You may be able to apply for an increase. So you may be able to petition for an increase. So look at your loan paperwork because it should give you some information on how to go about doing that. As far as EIDL advances, do we want to talk about that? Are we done with PPP? Here's the good segue. So EIDL advance also no longer has to be subtracted off of your PPP loans. So EIDL advances, that was one of the kind of frustrating things for a lot of people, that they got both of these things and then they were having to subtract that EIDL advance from their PPP loan. That is no longer the case. They have changed that, and that goes retroactive as well. So one of the things that we're waiting on guidance, because I've had a lot of people ask me, well, wait a second, I already had my loan forgiven except for the EIDL advance. What happens? Or maybe you even paid it back, right? Wait and see. Over the next couple of weeks, Treasury is required to come out with basically a process for what happens now. And whether that's banks forgiving those excess loans or you getting a refund back if you already paid it, we will have to see what the procedure is for that. But the good news is that EIDL advance does not need to be subtracted. Let's talk EIDL. EIDL has stayed open. The loan itself will not be forgiven. It was never going to be forgiven. If you took out a loan, if you actually, did the paperwork to take a loan. So that one will not be forgiven, but your EIDL advance is, which we knew. Now, a couple of things. It looks like they are reopening potentially the EIDL advance portal. It hasn't happened yet. I just checked right before I jumped on here just to see. So that is something that I will let you know if I see that portal open so that you guys can jump in. I don't think you're going to be able to request a second one. I think if you got one already, that's what you got. But there is a caveat here, you guys. If any of you are considered to be in low income areas, okay, you may be able to get your EIDL increased. So if you got $2,000, let's say you had 2 employees, you got $2,000 EIDL advance, right? The forgiven one, the grant. If you're in a low income area and you can show that you had a 30%, I believe it is, reduction in your over an 8-week period versus a similar 8-week period in the prior year, you can actually apply to get your EIDL advance increased to the full $10,000. So this is new in the bill as well, but it's only for people who are in low income areas. How the heck do you know if you're in a low income area? Well, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. That was something I was also have gotten questions about, and I wanted to make sure that people were able to see it. So look, so yes, so we already have somebody who's in a low income area hoping to get it. And it's going to be first come, first serve, you guys. So when this thing opens, more than likely you're going to want to go ahead and apply because it will run out, I can see, fairly quickly on this. So stay tuned, right? Stick around so that we can let you know when it happens. So let me show you guys really quickly how to find out if you are in a low income area. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly. Hopefully you guys can see this. I've linked this above and below, actually. So I've linked this map that you can go to. If you're on Facebook, it's going to be above you. If you're on YouTube, it's going to be below you. It's called GeoMap is what it's called. And then there's the rest of it. So you can go check this out yourself. But in this example, I have put in a address. Is actually an apartment complex in Nashville. I live in Nashville, so I figured I'd pick Nashville as the city, or outside of Nashville I live. So this, when you put this into this map and you press search, okay, it's going to show you on the map where it is. Then you're going to see this button here, over here on the left, which says Census Demographic Data. Press that button. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'm not sure how easy it is to see. But on here, this is actually showing you, go to the income tab, okay? So I put in the address, I press Census Demographic Data, and then I went to the income tab. Now you're going to come down here. You want to qualify as a low income area, sorry, you would have to be at least 20% below poverty line. So if this number is 20 or higher on this tab, okay, then you would qualify. So that's the first way. The second way you could qualify, let's say this was lower than 20%. The other way is you could look at the tracked median family income percent if it's under 80. So if this number is over 20, or this tracked median family income number is under 80, either one, you are most likely considered to be in a low income area, okay? So you can look at either of those or look at both of those and see if you can qualify. So go check out that link that I have above. That'll take you right to this exact place where you can find that out. So hopefully you can see that. So I don't think they're going to post it because it is so varied, right? Here, I'm going to take this down. It is so varied, you actually will have to go search it. Yes, more than likely, yes. In the first round, they allowed people to get the advance and not the loan. So I imagine it will be the same this time. But you do typically have to apply for the loan. So it could have a credit hit or something like that to you. So that's just something to be aware of. Some people got their credit checked and some people didn't. But most people for the EIDL, oh no, the link doesn't work. Is anybody else seeing that? Oops. Has anybody else seen that the link doesn't work? You're in Facebook. I'll go back and here. Actually, I'm going to copy it and paste it in right now. Give me 1 second. So this should get to all of you guys. Okay, Christina says it works. So hopefully you guys are seeing that. Try again if the link's not working. and go check out your area. I'm losing my voice, you guys. Okay. You would think I was out like dancing and partying last night. I was definitely here watching The Bachelorette. Finally got to watch the end. Will I say the fields again? Yes. So it is, hang on, I'll just put it back up. When you go to it, census demographic data, go to this income, which is the second tab, and it's the percent below poverty line. If that is below, or that needs to be above 20, okay? So in this case, we would qualify because it's 25. This second one, tracked median family income percent, that would need to be below 80. Okay, and we are because it's 74 here. So either one, if you qualify for either one, you're more than likely going to qualify as a low income area. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Let's see. Yeah, so any idea, let's see, if businesses that didn't have a chance at EIDL loans, was not in business in 2019, but actually opened in 2020, could get an EIDL loan. So I believe it's still that you have to be in business by February of 2020. I believe that that is still the rule for EIDL. We can go and check that out, but the portal hasn't reopened yet, but when it does, I believe it's still the same rules. They're trying to really, trying to take care of people who were already had an existing business that they were relying on for their income prior to the pandemic hitting. Okay, so yeah. And there was something else. Hang on just a second. Oh, the other thing that the low income area will come into play. Okay, I want to talk to you guys for a little bit because I haven't talked about this yet. This isn't specifically for business owners. This is kind of for anybody. But I think it's really important because I've heard a couple of really sad stories from people who've been worried about eviction. Okay. They've extended the moratorium on eviction through January 31st. Hopefully that will be renewed again. But they also have put $25 billion in the bill towards rental assistance. Okay. Now they are skewing that towards people who are in low income areas. Okay. So I think the rule there is they're prioritizing those under 50% of the median income. All right. So that's, I think, that second line that I was talking about. It's a different number. They're saying under 50% is being prioritized. That doesn't mean that people above it won't be able to get it. Okay. If you have a higher income, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to get it. It just means they're going to prioritize, they're going to move to the front of the line, people who have are in lower income areas to get that rental assistance if you need it. Okay. And your landlord can actually apply on your behalf as well. So this is generally for, my understanding anyway, is that this seems to be more towards personal housing, not necessarily business rent that you're paying. This is more for paying, to ensure you don't end up homeless and things like that. If you're at risk of like housing instability, that's really the purpose. And they're really going to gear towards low income. So I want to make sure that you guys are aware that that is there. And that is also going to be for first come, first serve. So your landlord can apply on your behalf. That might be the easiest. If you want to talk to your landlord about this bill, they may not know about it, or they may, but either way, you would have to sign on it even if they applied. So for those of you guys who are in that boat, that might be something that would be really helpful to you. And I will keep you guys updated if I find out more about exactly how. It seems like the way we're going to apply it hasn't opened yet, but the way to apply for that is likely going to be more through like your local housing department. it seems like they're going to allocate the money out to the states, who are then going to allocate the money out locally. So that's probably going to be something that isn't going to be a federal application process. It's probably going to be a mess, you guys, just to tell you it's a new program. It's probably going to be a little bit of a mess, but at the end, hopefully it'll work out kind of like PPP was a mess. But in the end, hopefully ended up accomplishing some of its goals, which were really to help you guys stay afloat during the pandemic. Okay, let's see. That is correct. EIDL and PPP are just based on your business, not your total household. So even unemployment doesn't factor into there either, because unemployment is personal income. So you shouldn't have an EIDL loan still pending because they've been open. So EIDL loans have continued to stay open. You can actually go now if you have not gotten an EIDL loan, and remember, these are loans. So I might wait and see if the portal opens for the advance, but if you really need a loan, it's still open if you haven't gotten one already. And if you have gotten one, you may be able to petition for it to be increased. Let's see. So more than likely, the way that you'll prove quarters for PPP is by showing your bank statements. So again, this is another reason why it's really important to keep our business separate from our personal. And I know that was something that a lot of self-employed individuals ran into last year, where they didn't have everything separated. And so if you don't have it separated, it's going to be really tough to show that. You're probably going to have some accounting books and records, something like that, to be able to prove out your decrease in income. Okay. So what else did I want to talk about? I want to make sure that I get to all the main points that I had. I think I got most of them. Let's see. There was no extension thus far that we've seen on student loan forbearance. However, if you have an SBA loan currently, you do get payments. So they were paying a lot of these SBA loans for people, the principal and interest payments, not just deferring them, actually paying them on your behalf. The SBA was paying them. That will start up again. So you will get, if you have a qualifying SBA loan, they will pay 3 more months of your loan, February, March, and April. And if you are in certain hard hit industries, which is dictated by NAICS code, then you will actually be able to get even more. I think you get 5 more months potentially of payment. If you see the 10-page summary that I posted, again, above, if it's on YouTube, above on Facebook, below on YouTube, I think, you will see a 10-page summary. On that summary, maybe page 6, I might be making that up, you will see the list of the NAICS codes that would qualify for that, okay? So this is for paying your SBA loans, your principal, and your interest. Okay, what other questions? Ask me other questions you've got. Oh, let's talk about unemployment. We haven't talked about unemployment. Unemployment is coming. Unemployment is it's technically 11 weeks, but it may only end up being 10 weeks because there's a little bit of delay in the bill. So it goes into March, essentially. March 14th is where unemployment will be extended to. So they've added those additional weeks. So even if you're out of unemployment, you can still continue to get it. The total is, I think, about 50 weeks or something like that you can get unemployment for. And you do not have to have, a lot of people have asked me, do I have to show $100 like you did with that extra executive order money that you got last time after the 600 expired? No, you do not. So as long as you qualify, it's more like the first round of FPUC is what it's called, right? Federal Pandemic, Unemployment Compensation. I'm trying to keep it all straight. If you got that, you know what that was like. Basically, you just had to qualify for at least $1 in unemployment benefits. Same thing for this. So you don't have to qualify for $100 in state aid like you did with the executive order money. This reverts back to kind of the old rules around the $600 for receiving it. Also, something that I thought was really cool in here is there was a boost in there for mixed income people. So they kind of sort of fixed or tried to fix a loophole. So for some of you, if you applied, let's say you have W-2 income and you also had 1099 income and you were unemployed and you applied for unemployment, it would only potentially give you unemployment for the W-2 income portion and not for the other side, because it wouldn't even let you really apply for PUA. It made you go through regular unemployment. So that happened to a lot of people I know. I heard a ton of people in California ran into that and in other states as well. If that is you, and you're still unemployed, right? Then for people with those mixed income, there is a way for them to get $100 boost for that. So I'm assuming that I don't know how exactly that's gonna work yet. It's probably gonna be one of the questions that they ask you potentially on your certifications or something like that, such that it can increase your bonus to, or increase your benefits to basically make up for that loss of self-employment income as well. So there was kind of just a weird, there were people that should have qualified for a lot more in benefits and didn't because it wouldn't let them essentially put in their self-employment income. So hopefully if that's anybody, let me know. But I know that was a big complaint that we got early on in this was that people were really not being able to get what they should have been able to get because they had sometimes even a really small W-2 check. So like 80% of their income was self-employed, but they could only get the replacement for the 20% that was their W-2 salary. Let's see. No, so the new $300 starts anew. It will start probably this week, although more than likely it's going to take a little bit of time. But you hopefully will get back pay to when the bill was enacted, which technically I think was I don't even know. Sunday, I guess, was it Sunday? Is that when it got signed? I think it got signed Sunday. So it'd be this week. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? Yes, so I talked about this one. EIDL Advanced does not have to be subtracted. Oh, let's talk about taxes, y'all. Who doesn't love talking about taxes? A lot of good stuff in this bill with regards to things that are and aren't taxed, okay? So for example, PPP forgiveness, or PPP used to be, we knew PPP was not going to be income to us. It was not going to be taxed as income. That was in the CARES Act, great. But then the IRS came back and said, yeah, that's all great and everything, Congress, but we're going to make it so that people cannot deduct the expenses that they pay with it, basically to try to not give them a double win, essentially, where you get free money and you don't have to pay taxes on it, and you don't have to pay taxes on the things you pay with it. So what they did is Congress came back and said, no, IRS. That's not what we meant. We meant non-taxable, meaning non-taxable. And so you can now deduct those expenses federally. So that's a win-win. There are no tax implications. And I think that was a really big win. EIDL, the exact same thing. EIDL Advance, the loan is not taxable anyway, y'all. It's like a loan. No loans are going to be taxable. The Advance, though, we were wondering if we kind of assumed it was going to be taxable because the CARES Act didn't say it wasn't. They actually said, nope, the EIDL Advance is also non-taxable and you can still deduct your expenses. So that was all really good news. That was kind of the trend. There were a lot of these different, if you received a lot of this money and grant money and things like that came under the CARES Act, they basically said, we're not going to tax you on it. So that was a really, really good change as well that I was really happy to see. Let's see. Let's see. So would you put it, so I assume you mean the PPP or the EIDL? Yes. When it is forgiven, it stays on for PPP, it stays on your balance sheet until it's forgiven. When it is forgiven, it will be other income, other non-taxable income. So make sure when you're working with your CPA at the end of the year, which you should be, if you don't have one, check my preferred vendors list. JamieTroll.com/preferred-vendors. One of them will drop it in here, I'm sure. But make sure that you tell them this is what this is so that you don't accidentally somehow end up getting taxed on it because you put it in a bucket with a bunch of other income and your tax preparer didn't know what it was and thought it was income from clients. There was not an extension in the bill, in this current bill, for extended forbearance. I think right now it's called to go through January, I think. But there was nothing in this bill that extended it. Let's see. Yes, I talked about this a little bit earlier. If you want to watch the replay, I don't want to go over it again because there's a lot of people on here and we just watched it. Let's see, I'm looking for new questions. Ooh, whoever you are, this is a really good one. I want you guys to have this on your radar screen. I don't have all the answers on this yet. What is being talked about here is the employee retention tax credit, okay? A lot of you guys ignored this, and rightfully so, last year, because if you got PPP in the CARES Act, you couldn't get PPP and this tax credit. And generally, PPP was free money, ultimately, right? And so PPP was better option for most people. So a lot of you guys didn't really fool with the ERC. And I honestly didn't do a lot of content on it because of the fact that most people were getting PPP. Now they've changed it. So what the employee retention tax credit is, and I'm not going to go into this in detail because I could probably do an entire 30 minutes on this. But what it is basically a way, if you continue to employ, if you had a huge drop, right? If you had a huge drop in revenue and continue to employ employees, you were able to get a tax credit on those employees. So it's a payroll tax credit that you would get back, and it's up to $10,000 per employee. Now, there's a complicated calculation for who actually qualifies and when you qualify. But previously, you couldn't get it if you got PPP. Now you can, and it's retroactive. It seems at least that it is meant to be retroactive as well, which means for those of you guys who got PPP and kept people employed, as long as you didn't use the PPP money for those wages, right? You'd have to take out the amount that you used that you got forgiven through PPP. This is going to get confusing. I'm just going to tell you. It's hard to talk through, but ultimately, other wages, however, you could potentially get a tax credit for. I'm not going to jump into it, but I am monitoring this one because we're waiting on some implementation guidance for exactly how this is going to work and how this is retroactively going to roll out. For a lot of you guys, this could be a really good thing. So keep it on your radar screen for now. Watch for content from me on it when we have more information. Likely it's going to be the IRS that needs to come out with the interpretation on what the heck to do. Also, for 2021, you can get this too through July 31st. So if you continue to employ your employees and you've seen a pretty substantial dip in your gross receipts, there's a good chance that you would qualify for this deduction. For this tax credit. I really, really recommend, though, you guys, work with a CPA on this. This one gets really, it is not the easiest thing to read and understand. It's not the easiest thing to interpret and to calculate. And so it may be good if you've seen a big drop in your gross receipts in your business, that you talk to a CPA about the employee retention tax credit. And then you're probably, when this is all kind of up and running, we know what to do with it, you're probably going to also have to loop in your payroll tax company too, because it's done through a payroll tax credit. Okay. So I know I probably just confused y'all even more. It's one of the more confusing elements to all of this. But I want you guys to be aware of what it is, because it could be something that would be helpful to you. And it's a payroll tax credit, not an income tax credit, meaning it's payroll tax you get back. You know how you pay payroll taxes for your employees? You'd be able to get that back in the form of up to $10,000 per employee. So stick with me. I'll do more on this, but it is it's a very complicated subject. For ERC, if the employer laid off employees for several months and then brought back while your revenue is still low, do you still qualify? Yes, I believe you can. I believe you can if you're paying them while your revenue is low. So it's for the quarter. I think it was a little bit. It was 50% revenue drop, but I think it's different now. So I need to look more into the rules. You can now get ERC. It was previous that you couldn't, because ERC has been something you could have gotten during 2020, but most people opted for PPP. And if you got PPP, you couldn't get ERC. Now you can. The new bill says, okay, now you can, and we're going to make it retroactive. So back to 2020 and also the first 6 months of 2021. So I want you guys to be aware of that. Don't worry about it too much yet, but be on the lookout for content as we get clarified rules around how you guys will get this. If you don't have any employees, this would not apply to you. So my sole props who are self-employed, go have a drink and don't worry about it. Okay. Let's see. Let's see, how and when can we apply for PPP2? Wait on that. Basically, we will know within the next couple of weeks. You should see, once we get guidance more from the SBA and Treasury, that's likely what the banks are going to wait on before they actually open the portal again. I will come and tell you guys, hey, we'll probably have a new interim final rule or something like that that'll be posted from Treasury that will give us more information on exactly how this is going to go. And at that point, the banks will probably reopen portals. It may not be all the same banks. So that's the question too, is are we going to have as many banks who are going to open up their portal as we did the last time? So hopefully it's a lot of banks, and so that we don't have to worry about kind of the big rush, but we don't yet know. Oh, I like this. Yes, you guys, that's a good one too. Go have a drink and deduct 100%. No, actually, what you're talking about, meals are now 100% deductible. They were previously 50% deductible. Now they are 100% deductible for the year 2021 and 2022. This was in an effort to spur restaurants and people going back to restaurants. So they will be 100% deductible to your business if they are business related meals, right? Of course, not just your regular meals, but your business related meals. But yes, that actually starts now. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So that's a good one too. So it's just going to be until funds are exhausted. I'm sure there is a date. I can't tell you off the top of my head what it is. There's probably a date, but I would guess that they'll be gone before then, but we don't know. Let's see. Yep, lunch and learns. Wonder if I can deduct it if I'm just sitting here at my computer watching a webinar. Does that count? I feel like that should count. The CPA in me says no. Okay, let's see. The last proposal had a small grant you were able to catch. Is it in the bill? No, so I think you're talking about back from August. There was another grant program that was being discussed, or loan program for businesses that would have been forgivable. It looks like they've scrapped that. They've gone back to PPP. I'm kind of happy about that because I didn't really want to learn a whole new loan program. They have PPP though, can be used for more things. So I don't think I mentioned that earlier. So this time what they did was they basically relaxed the rules. So you still have to spend 60% on payroll, but that 40% can be used for like a lot more general operating expenses. So that's a really nice thing for a lot of business owners. More than likely though, because you have 24 weeks to spend it again, you should hopefully be able to use it all on payroll. But if you can't, you can use it on PPE. You can use it on, a lot of regular operating expenses that you need to run your business. So that is also good news. I'm seeing a couple of repeat questions. So for those of you who are asking about the stimulus and EIDL, go rewatch this back because I did talk about that a decent amount. And I think now I've covered most all of it. I think. But I'll be back here most Fridays to talk about all the stuff and things and give you guys kind of the download. Also wanted to tell you, for anybody who is interested, for anybody who is in that spot where they're like 2021 is going to be the year that I take control of my finances. I do sell things from time to time, and this is my main program that I sell. So the majority of what I do, I give for free, especially all of the stimulus advice, and I am absolutely happy to do it. But for those who are looking for a program that they want to go through, it's an online course program, but with support and Q&As and a community. We all do it together. It's a really great experience. I want you to go check out the waitlist. We're opening it in about a week and a half, and it's only going to be open for 1 week. And this program hasn't been open since last January. So this is a very short window of time. If you want to get in, it's a great time to do it. It's 2021. Let's start taking control of things. It will also help you really be able to prepare yourself for what's next. I know a lot of people felt really, we all were completely caught off guard by this, honestly, but part of my program is paying yourself more. It's preparing for emergencies. It's saving for taxes. It's creating a plan to really get strategic with your business finances to help your business grow and to meet the goals in your personal life. So I love it. It's my favorite program ever. JamieTrull.com/FFF. I don't think I linked that above, but I'll put it in here so that you guys have it. Go check it out. it is, like I said, only going to be open for a short period of time. So you'll start seeing some things coming out from me about it. However, and I'm going to say this over and over again, because I know a lot of business owners are still really struggling. If you are in that spot where you are, worried about your business closing, or you're worried about your, feeding your kids, worried about your having rental assistance, all of those things, do not buy my program. It will come around again at some point. Okay. So I will absolutely never tell people who are in that spot to do that. But if you are in the spot where you can invest in this, then it's going to have a return on your investment, and it can really help transform your business and your life. So anyway, that's all I had today. I'm going to go get gussied up a little bit more and go on a date night tonight. So I will see you guys next week. Happy New Year to everybody, and have a great weekend. Bye, guys.